What's up, Kansas City? I'm your host, Glenn Brian Frizzell. Today we are filming in the historic 18th and Vine Jazz District at the Lincoln Building, home of Cascade Media Group. Today's special guest comes from the timeless tradition of scare, scream, spook, and phobia. Her company's haunted houses each year entertain thousands and leave visitors wanting to come back to experience the thrill one more year. Ladies and gentlemen, we are thrilled out of our seats to be able to welcome to you today Miss Amber Bequeaith, owner of Full Moon Productions.
Thank you.
Welcome to What's Up Kansas City, Miss Bequeaith.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an exciting year for Full Moon.
Awesome. What exactly are you looking forward to most this year?
Well, I think most of all what we're looking is celebrating the 40th year of Full Moon Productions, and so that's quite a feat for Kansas City. And I think that a lot of people don't realize that the haunted industry actually started in Kansas City. The Edge of Hell is the oldest commercial haunted attraction in the United States.
That's an interesting fact.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You have 4 attractions: the Beast, Edge of Hell,
It's the Macabre Cinema.
Macabre Cinema, and I looked that up earlier. Shame on me.
That's okay.
And Chambers of Edgar Allan Poe.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what will each attraction offer viewers different this year?
Well, I think what's interesting to know is that we do study the psychology of fears and phobia. That's what I'm an expert in. And so each attraction is laid out according to that particular fear or phobia that we're trying to play on or evoke inside of you. Mm-hmm. And so each house has its own uniqueness. The Edge of Hell is really the timeless tale about if you walk on the edge, you will encounter those sorts of demons. Mm-hmm. And you travel, and unfortunately you made too many bad choices, and then you travel through purgatory and down the 5-story spiral slide into the arms of the devil himself. The Beast was the first to, and was considered the pioneer in the open format in the haunt industry across the country, and that's the fear and the unknown of being able to find your way out. And a lot of people, some are there for 15 minutes in the werewolf forest, and some are in there for an hour and 15 minutes and can't find their way out. And so that's the fear and ability to work through the Beast. And then the Macabre Cinema is really it's kind of, all of our work is an original. And the Macabre Cinema takes a haunted 1930s movie theater and it puts all that Hollywood element into it and puts a twist. So the minute you pass through the slit in the movie screen, you become the victim inside the movie sets. We have the actual Mummy, Scorpion King movie set. We have the Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And we're able to get some of those sets and incorporate them into the whole house. And this year the Macabre Cinema will actually be doing a lot of special events, movie premieres and that kind of thing. And so it's on a special date rotation this year. And then the Chambers of Edgar Allan Poe is really it's a coming back home for us because it was the first haunted attraction that we did in the early 1970s, and it was on the Independence Square. We were open for just 2 weeks, $2 for an adult, $1 for children, and it was just a Halloween spectacular. And so from that point is when we purchased the building at 7th and Wyandotte and opened the Edge of Hell attraction.
Now your home is right...
40 years. 40 years ago.
Let's say 40 years. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And your home is right here in the heartland of Kansas City. Now, do people ever come up to you after being on a date with their significant other and say, "Thank you for scaring the pants out of me"?
You know what? That is a huge point that a lot of people don't know. We get a lot of first dates and they either work out really well or they know immediately that is not the person for them.
I can imagine.
If the guy shoves the girl into the monster and protects himself, it usually doesn't end in marriage.
Work out that
no,
way.
no. And I use that for my own daughter as well. That's the first test, is you got to go through and see how they scare, and then we'll see if that relationship can continue.
Well worth the price of admission. Now, Ms. Bequeaith, what do you enjoy most about your line of work?
Well, I think the thing about the haunted industry is that it's celebrating Halloween, and so the holiday itself is exciting and people get to step out of who they are in everyday life. It's for the child, it's for the adult, and I think that what I love the most is when you see the people lined up and that energy that I feel when I walk out and they're so excited. And so what we do is recreate memories. That's what we do, because everywhere I go, people say to me, you know, I have this story, or this one time I went in with my best friend, or this one time, last year we had a 90-year-old bring her entire family down to the Beast, and she said, I just want to be the coolest grandma around. And I was praying, please get through. Just please
Yes.
find your way out of the werewolf forest.
Don't let anything happen to Grandma in the
Yeah,
werewolf
and she
forest.
made it, and she was fabulous. But that is a life memory, and that is what is always given back to me, and what is so exciting about what I do.
That is amazing, and a lot of your work is also done for charity, I understand?
It is. The Chambers of Edgar Allan Poe and Macabre Cinema were really put together for charity. We've worked with the children's charity Variety with AMC. We recently just did 4 years giving to the Dream Factory here in Kansas City. And right now we're getting ready to work with a new charity that's national that I've worked with haunted attractions across the country. It's called Don't Be a Monster, and it's an anti-bullying campaign, which I think is very important for our society today. And so we go into middle schools, elementary schools, and talk to them about how not to be a monster within their realm and with their friends. And it really ties in well with the haunt industry across the country. There's some incredible haunts that I work with called America Haunts that I work on a board, and we really look at the industry and how we can give back as a whole.
I remember in 7th grade, our church youth group, now this is an interesting trip, but our church youth group leader selected for us to go out to pizza and to attend Edge of Hell. And I was one of the youngest attendees at that point, but that night left an experience that all of us, if you know, we can still talk about it today, our trip to Edge of Hell.
And isn't that funny, because it's also the response of people watching people get scared, you know, how they react, because every single person reacts differently. And so we also, that's the fears and the phobias, and we all are different in that way. And so it's my job to be able to lay out a haunted attraction in order to evoke the most from each person, because no one person scares the same.
Now, is that a hard job?
Very hard. It's very hard, and I think that over time, from 1975 to 2014, the biggest change is technology. We have just an abundance of technology. When you walk into one of our scenes, you actually break a laser beam, and then that creates this entire timing process that is down to the millisecond. So everything has to rock into action within accordance of how long it takes you to get from point A to point B. Sounds change in the room, smells change in the room, lighting changes in the room. Everything is computer programmed to make that the most exquisite element at that time as you walk through the scene.
Wow, wow. And you mentioned 1975. What is your background and how did you get started in haunted houses, Miss Bequeaith?
Well, I was actually born into it, and my mother and grandmother had an outdoor theater at Lake of the Ozarks that I performed in from a very young age. And so since I was 5 years old, we worked with you know, all different sorts of things. I remember I slept in a coffin when I was 5. That's how I grew up, is that all my family would work and perform, and when I grew tired of my performance, I would lay down in the coffin and they would just come get me at the end of the night. And I remember you could get all the flowers from the graveyards. We would go out and collect them, and then as people walked in, I would drop the rose petals down on the people as they entered into the Edge of Hell. And then I became the angel. And then I became the devil too.
Interesting.
So, you know, I've played all the parts, and I have a very creative family. My uncle and I run it now, Monty Summers. And but I think another thing to look at is that the haunted attractions have really served the community. We draw over 100,000 people within a 2-month period. We give back to charity. That's huge for me. And the other thing is that we have really worked hard on infrastructure for the West Bottoms. We run West Bottoms security and have lowered the crime. It now has the lowest crime in Kansas City. We work on bridges and sewers, and so everyone says, oh, I'm sure you're in the Bahamas in the off season, and I'm not. I'm here working in the core, in the urban area, to keep the energy alive, because the West Bottoms is one of the most incredible areas. It's the original Kansas City.
We're glad to hear you say that, Miss Bequeaith. Now, can you tell me, do you scare easily?
I do not.
You do not?
No. But that is a goal of a lot of the employees, is to try and scare me every season. They don't get it done very often.
Now, our viewers, what should our viewers know if they're planning to visit one of the Full Moon Productions haunted houses this season?
Well, we open September 25th this year, and we're open Thursday through Sunday through October. The final week leading up to Halloween, which Halloween's actually on a Friday this year, which is very exciting. We're open that entire full week. And so, you know, it's a very short season. Oh, and of course you don't want to miss Medusa, which is now, we have the Guinness Book of World Records here in Kansas City. She's 25 feet 2 inches and weighs over 400 pounds, and she'll be on display at the Edge of Hell.
Now, she kept behind a glass cage?
Of course not.
Oh. Oh, on display. Really on display.
Yeah, on display. Of course. I can't let go of that secret. You never know what you'll find in a haunted house.
I see, I see.
And we're also getting ready for auditions this year, so anyone who wants to come down and perform, every single person has to audition for their spot as a cast member at Full Moon Productions.
Awesome, awesome. Now, you have a website.
We do. You can go to kcbeast.com or edgeofhell.com.
Okay, Ms. Bequeath, we thank you for appearing on our show. Is there anything else that you would like to tell us? Or?
No, just remember that there are lots of screams coming from the West Bottoms getting ready to happen, but it's always followed by laughter.
Always followed by laughter. And with that, I'm your host, Glenn Brian Frizzell. Thanking you for tuning in. Check out more video online at www.whatsupkansascity.net. And remember, the sky's the limit. Aim high. Shoot for the moon. If you miss, at the very least, you would have landed among the stars. Take care until next time.
Happy Halloween.
What's up, Kansas City? We are Cascade Media Group.
CMG is calling all small businesses, organizations, solicitors of products or services that would like to reach their KC Metro viewers and would like our help.
We produce commercials, promote, advertise, and film events. Not to mention display company banners, including a link to your website on either of our sites.
That's whatsupkansascity.net, the premier outlet for Kansas City.
Or CascadeSports.tv, home of the student athletes.
If you're interested, contact CMG at 816-389-0259.
Or email us at mgcascademediagroup@hotmail.com.
And remember, it pays to advertise.